Design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is Ben Slinger.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
I think we'll jump right in this week. We might as well.
Welcome to 2020.
Well,
again.
yeah. This is the first episode we're recording in 2020. So we've had a few weeks off. We haven't recorded since before Christmas, and so hopefully things aren't too rusty. But
yeah, they are, because I forgot that we recorded an episode and released it yesterday.
Yes, we did. So, shall we just jump right in with some regular old click pitch?
I think we should. Do you want to tell our listeners how click pitch works?
So, click pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we click refresh, get a new word. We put them together and make a game design of some sort. It could be it's amazing, epic narrative. It could be some cool new mechanics. It could be something completely derivative, but it'll be fun. And then we'll throw it away.
Yep.
So let's do it.
And then we'll come up with like some sort of ray tracing alternative for it.
Yeah, and it'll probably be in
one click.
Oh, interesting. I just got blue. The color blue.
Heart.
Blue heart. Okay. I mean, that immediately brings me to mind of some sort of just like life mechanic. Because obviously hearts play, a very large part of video games, generally representing your health.
Ooh. Okay, my brain has just gone to like a pet simulator in which you're trying to get love from your owners.
Okay.
And so
where does blue come in?
Well, the reason why I sort of was going towards that was like I was thinking like a blue Kelpie or something like that, like from a dog point of view.
Oh, I see, the breed. Okay.
Yeah. But I was also sort of thinking that maybe what happens is as you sort of don't have love from your owners, kind of like how guys sometimes complain about blue balls. This is blue heart.
Blue heart. When your dog's just not getting enough love. Okay. Yep. All right. So you play as the dog and the goal is to just make your owner love.
Or animal of your choice. Like if you want to play a fish, you can. If you want to play a budgerigar, then you can.
Okay. So we're going to get a bit ambitious with it and just like, we have DLC of like more exotic animals and stuff. Yeah.
Like,
so what are the facts?
Tiger in a small flat.
Yeah. What are the, all right. So I kind of like this idea that you start in like an adoption center, like a pet adoption center, regardless of what type of animal you are.
Oh yeah.
And you don't know who you're going to get picked by. Like you have zero control over what house and which owners you will end up with. Mm-hmm. And it's some sort of procedural generation. Like maybe you can customize your animal. In fact, I'm almost thinking this is a bit of has some roguelike aspects where, you do a few runs and you get to unlock new breeds, new animal types, new species.
New owner types.
New moves. Like we'll get to the actual gameplay. But yeah, so maybe you start off with, dog, cat, goldfish.
Yep. And if you're a dog, then you got to work on those puppy eyes, and if you're a cat, then you got to work on like the cute cat eyes.
Okay, do they each have like skill trees then?
I think so.
Is this a full on kind of third person pet pet action game? But yeah, all the goals are around pleasing or at least getting love from your owner.
Yep. I think in each sort of house, there's like secret objectives that you can sort of find, lost photos and all this sort of stuff that unlock other owners.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yep.
You go through the owner's sort of life with an owner, whether the house ends up getting burnt down.
Is it the life
like
of the pet? Like, because one of the things about roguelikes, and we don't have to lean into this side of it. Obviously, there's permadeath, but is it like punishing? Is it tricky? Like, is it hard to actually live the entire life of this pet? I mean, maybe not for a goldfish, but again, if you're not getting enough love from your owner as a goldfish, if you're not doing your job, then they might just forget to feed you, and then it's run over.
I think depending on the owner that you have, like if it's around Christmas time and it's a young family, then you've got to be, right on your game. Otherwise, you're not going to get fed after they sort of forget about you after the first, sort of week.
Right. So there's sort of, okay. Because obviously there's a huge world of things we could do. I'm trying to think of it semi-realistically, but I do like the idea that, again, as you go, you might get a particular random seed that triggers the "You're a Christmas Pet" event, which basically changes up the kind of adoption process.
Yep, Santa comes,
or at least it changes the initial conditions, right? Like, I think maybe each, again, like it's probably a randomly generated household of some sort. I feel like the houses maybe will be pre-built, or at least put together from sort of initial structures or something.
Yeah,
but the members of the family could be procedurally generated, and then they start with different levels of affection for you based on whether they wanted you or not, or whether they're a cat or a dog person, or different things. And so you might have to work harder to win certain people over. I guess what I'm trying to think of is what's the main kind of loop then? Like, you show up and now you're just running around this house. How long does that go for? What are the things you're actually doing? Obviously, there's some exploration, but
you're basically trying to get your heart meter filled all the way to the top, because once you have, they've now got pure love for this pet, and that is your goal basically. Once you have pure love with the family, nothing can sort of tear you asunder.
All right. Are there other attributes or like conflicting goals that are preventing you from this? Because, like, I'm trying to think, obviously, if you just want to win the game, you could be the most lovely cat ever that always poops in the litter tray and never knocks anything off a shelf and, purrs every time you get touched. But are there, like, moods? Are there things you have to do to get food or to, like, satisfy certain urges that are maybe counter to actually being loved?
Yeah, I think you've got, certain instincts that you got to sort of keep on balance. Your powers of always landing on your feet they're from the very cat-like instincts that you have. So if you're not knocking stuff off shelves, if you're not, cleaning yourself and doing all the normal cat things,
okay.
Doing,
then other certain
the hairball throw up stuff,
like other certain abilities are lessened. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So you've got you've got a cat meter. So you're like, how cat are you? It's like you can be more cat by knocking something precious off a shelf, and you need to keep your cat meter up because that's what like keeps you from hazards and things. If you fall off something, maybe you might not land on your feet, or you get hit. I guess if you can go outside, you might like not be able to move as fast or jump as high, or that sort of thing.
I mean, I do kind of want to have like secret things that you can find within the house. So, say you find a piece of buttered toast, you can stick it on the back of the cat and like continually jump off and you get that perpetual. You get the perpetual
motion machine ending.
But what actually happens is you sort of time warp into another future, and it's sort of like that's one of the endings that you can unlock.
Yeah, I like the idea of particular situations that you can unlock a specific ending. That's fun. Lots of little Easter eggy sort of additional things.
It's like kind of really scary when you unlock the Cujo ending.
Oh God. Like the dog you're playing just like loses control and traps your family in a car.
Gets rabies and traps the family in the car. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. No, I like this a lot. I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff here, and it's a very non-traditional roguelike, but I feel like you could really adapt the roguelike setting to it. And then I think you can unlock
definitely
different moves and stuff per species. So cats can have a kind of randomly jump and run at something that nobody else can see move, and that endears them to the family unless they knock something off a shelf. and the dog can have the chase the tail move or the roll on your back move. And I think maybe you not only... So I think it's sort of an XP building game in certain senses, like you're unlocking your skill tree as you go, and then each run you might unlock more options for your skill tree in future runs, for your skills list, basically.
Now, have you seen the movie Secret Life of Pets?
Yes. Well, like most of it. I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing, I don't think. But
in the last couple of days, because I've been home alone with my son, I've watched 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And it sort of has unlocked, some extra ideas that I have for the game that you can sort of go out and have like an adventure with your other local pets that you can then try to do something and get back in time to be home for your owner when they get back.
Yeah, well, I like having little kind of side missions because obviously it could get a bit tedious to just, you're a pet wandering around a house trying to make your owner love you. I think you need goals here and there. And look, it could. I'm almost picturing a Goose Game sort of thing where you've just got these sort of relatively mundane things, but it's not necessarily about annoying everyone.
No, it's about loving everyone.
Yeah, well, it's about being loved, but also about, like you may need to, I think to tick some of these things off, you have to have your cat or your dog level up. And sometimes that involves doing things that might make your love level go down because.
I mean, I'm just picturing that, you get a brand new ball at the start of this 1 week. At the end of this week, like you've lost the ball and you're in danger of losing love points. So you've got to sneak out of the house, down the road to the pet store, steal this ball and get back, making sure that it's exactly the same.
And you've lost it because you buried it in the yard somewhere and you can't remember where.
Yeah, you can't remember where it is.
So another option to get that back is just to dig up the entire yard, and you'll get a little bit of love back for not having lost the ball, but you'll lose a lot because you just dug up the whole garden. But your dog meter is at an all-time high.
But it's because your dog meter got so low that you couldn't actually smell where you lost the ball. Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
Hello.
Isolation.
Hello, Isolation, my old friend.
Okay, for some reason, I just saw this whole thing as almost like an echo sort of thing. Everyone, whenever they yell into a canyon or wherever they say, hello, 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 and you hear it echoing off. And that's what sort of brings up this whole feeling of isolation as well. The fact that, kind of like an Alan Wake sort of thing, that you're a novelist or something like that, going to the secluded location to get away from society. And it's just sort of like...
It's like a horror thriller sort of...
I don't know whether it's a horror
just
thriller,
like
but it's more an investigation of like his mind palace almost. That he's looking inside and wanting to...
I do like that idea of just a very introspective game where the whole game is this guy's monologue, internal monologue.
Yeah.
But it's, in this beautiful sort of forested mountainous area and almost in a Gone Home-esque thing, like there might be tinges of, well, what's going on? Like something dangerous is happening or something weird's going on here. But like it just gives more fodder for this sort of introspective story.
Yep. And just the idea of as he's walking outside and looking around, you see sort of fading into view is like a conversation that his characters in his novel are having sort of in front of him. So he's sort of living through and making some choices as to how he's going to write his write his story.
And I like the idea that changes over time in that, like, he's come up here because he's got writer's block.
Yeah.
And he's at a certain point in his novel and doesn't know how to finish it. And as he's walking around, he's seeing these scenes play out, and you as the player, like, that's how you get the sense of what this book is about and who the characters are in the book. But based on the experiences he has each day, like, the narrative changes because his ideas are changing about how it could end.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm sort of seeing it almost as if the sort of things that are occurring are almost, if you could say, Disney-like you know, that you're having sort of conversations with like animals and that sort of stuff around that are sort of coming to life, and you start, you know, because he's been alone for so long.
Okay.
You know,
do they
his
talk back
mind
to
is
you?
sort of, I'm thinking so, yeah.
But it's sort of acknowledged that it's sort of all in his head.
Yeah. Maybe not at the start. Like after a while, you know, he's going out for a walk and he finds an injured fox and sort of helps fix its leg and, you know, sort of get it all feeling better, and he starts having conversations with it, and after like 2 days, it talks back.
Well, I like the idea of doing it though in a very magical realism kind of way. Like we're not implying that he's going crazy necessarily, right? Like he's not literally going insane. He's just creative and working things through in his head. And part of the way he's doing that is by, having these dialogues with animals and stuff. And so, I like that the first couple days, it's just his internal monologue, and you hear that happening, and you start seeing these scenes play out, but they're fairly ghostly, right? They're fairly transparent. And I think as you go further on, like things, more of this magical realism starts happening, and these scenes
and starts seeping in, and
these scenes start getting more solid,
so ghostly anymore. They become more solid, as they're firming up in his mind.
Well, that's it. It's really a metaphor for him really writing this story. That's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then I think it's just obviously a very straightforward narrative, but the gameplay comes from just. You know, it's a walking sim in sense, not in any derogatory way, of course. It's just you are experiencing the game through this, and you get to obviously choose where to walk around and where to do things. But I think you'd be fairly heavily guided.
Oh, definitely. I think this area that he's in is sort of blocked off a little bit in the fact that it doesn't have physical borders, but it's just sort of got like, when he goes to go too far out, he goes, no, I shouldn't go there, sort of thing. But you've got enough room that you can sort of move. You can go down to the canyon. You can go down to like a little stream, down a way.
Yeah, well, I think maybe there's
foresty area that you can walk through.
It could be that there's specific places in this little area that you've got to explore, that the different scenes play out every day. And so you basically need to visit them all. Yep. And have some experience or have some thought that then alters those scenes, and you sort of see how the narrative changes. And you could even have some branching stuff where you get to sort of, depending on some choices you make, the narrative does branch, or even just scenes play out slightly differently. The relationships between the characters in his story change up.
I mean, there could actually be like a point after you've been there for quite a while that you come across someone who's sort of looking for shelter, basically. They've been hiking for a few days. They got a bit lost. Mm-hmm. And so you don't know at this stage whether this is actually part of the story. Like, the characters kind of looks very similar to someone that you've already sort of seen in your ghostly things.
Yeah.
And whether it's
maybe. I think that would have to happen near the end.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like
near the end.
I really do like it sticking, like being very introspective in his head. But you could maybe play around with that, and maybe he's then unsure whether it's real or one of the characters in his story.
Yeah.
Although, again, I don't want to go too far down like any sort of actual mental illness.
Oh, no. No. This is overactive imagination, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's really cool. And I feel like it's actually something, like that's very much the sort of game that Fulbright, who did Gone Home and Tacoma, would really pull off well, because it's very much just that, like, some really good voice acting.
Atmospheric.
Yeah. That so I started playing Observation last night by No Code.
You finally got your thing sorted out, did you?
Yeah. But they're very much down that. So they did that other, that Stranger Things inspired kind of, I can never remember what it's called.
Yeah, I've got Observer here. I should actually check it out.
Yeah, it's very good. They're very good at doing very atmospheric style things. Stories Untold was the other one. And that actually came from a Game Jam game where it was just this text adventure, but the text adventure is played on a, 3D modeled, CRT screen in the world. It's all done in Unreal Engine, and like stuff around the background, like changes as things happen. It's this like horror story. That's cool. And then they did another 3 more and released it as Stories Untold. But, and then Observation is, is you play an AI on a space station that's like got weird shit going on, but very atmospheric, very cool. But they definitely pull off a game like this very well because it's very much just that kind of real good atmospheric voice acting, animation, and storytelling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
The more that we're talking now, the more I realize that we really need to like catch up as well about some other stuff that is going on.
You and I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not on like offline.
In like 2 weeks.
We haven't talked to each other in like 3 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1,
Yeah.
click. Attitude.
Announcement with attitude. So for announcement, when my mind went in a few different ways. Some sort of like school announcement over the PA. Attitude brought in like some sort of like X Games thing, like a commentator for skateboard competition or something. And then those were the only two.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a game in any of those, or where the kind of gameplay would come in from an announcement point of view.
Yeah. We've done a few games in schools. We haven't like done a game based at like a sporting event or anything like that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm not really one for many sporting games. Like, I don't find a lot of sporting games like that interesting.
No, that's true.
And
All right,
I'm
so
trying to
there are a
think
couple
how
of
to
ways.
make a
Okay, there are a
sporting
couple of
game
ways we could do
interesting.
this. One, we could not challenge ourselves at all because my mind was going towards a point-and-click adventure set at like the X Games, but that's just the backdrop. Like the rest is sort of a narrative around a character there or whatever.
Yep, exactly where I was going.
Two is we could actually challenge ourselves and try to come up with some sort of interesting concepts around a sport game, whether it is like an X Games kind of thing, but maybe put a bit of a spin on it, like a bit of a like what are those like 4-on-4 NBA games, or like some of the ones where they do it a bit, they mix it up a bit and they bring in some like special moves, or like an NBA Jam even or something, right?
Yeah,
where it's not just
leading towards the point and click.
Well, because I'm just thinking like you wouldn't go. All right, let's give ourselves 2 minutes to talk about what we could maybe do with an actual semi-sports game, as in where the gameplay is the sport itself. And then if we're not going anywhere, we'll go back to the point and click and come up with a cool narrative.
Okay, what is actually at X Games that hasn't already been done by Steep or by Tony Hawk or by Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX or like any of the other multitude of extreme?
I mean, yes,
sports?
that's true, but I guess what I'm saying is, and I mean, I know that Tony Hawk games and stuff were in no way like realistic skateboarding games.
No, but Skate was.
Skate was a bit more, yes. All right, so they have like Moto X, which I guess is like bikes, right? Like motorbikes?
Yep.
Skateboarding, BMX freestyle, surf stuff maybe? And then they have winter stuff, which is like skiing, snowboarding. But that's less interesting to me. They used to have aggressive inline skating. But I guess that's not cool anymore.
But it's not aggressive anymore. It's, I don't know.
Could this be a
aggressive
skateboarding combat game? Could this be a couch competitive skateboarding game where 4 people are on a like board on a skate park in a skate park competitively skating? Competitively
skating, but not attacking each other?
No, I think they're attacking each other.
Okay, so it's like a couch over the top, sort of, or top down at least.
Yeah.
Skateboarding game, where basically you're doing tricks, you're doing grinds, you're doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but you're also picking up like power ups and weapons and like leaving flames behind you that people can't run.
I'm thinking a lot of the weapons are sort of board based in the fact that, you know, you can have a blade come out of the board.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is maybe like leaving stuff behind you. So you've got a bit of a like Tron or like light bikes or snakes sort of thing going on where you're trying to like cut people off and like drop some oil that they slide on, or drop some, like fucking napalm.
I do kind of like the idea that if you come off your board, you sort of get a timeout for 1.5 seconds or something like that. Sort of like it's you have to stay on your board. So your whole thing is keeping your speed up so that you're not just staying still, because if you take your foot off the board to, kick off the ground, I think it's sort of like if the floor is lava.
Oh, you like take a penalty for having to push yourself, basically.
Yeah. Basically, it damages you. And if you do it like 2-3 times in a row, then
that could even be
a timeout for
that could be like a particular game mode or something as well. You could have different modes. But I do like the idea that you have to. I like the best strategy is to keep moving. Yeah. And so you're having to keep tricks going and do like vert tricks to like keep your momentum up and stuff. But yeah, at the same time, strategically get the power ups and take out your opponents.
Yeah. And not be left in no man's land, which is like no man's land is like the like the flat area.
Okay.
Like that has no hill.
Yeah.
No nothing.
So all you can do is just like gently push yourself to the edge and start getting some speed up again. Sure.
Or take the hit and jump off and lose one of your lives.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. See, I feel like there are so many. I do feel like the sort of competitive couch stuff is getting a bit samey, even when you throw it into different things like this. But, but I like it.
Okay.
Let's do it on
took our couple of minutes doing there. Okay. So point and click adventure.
Yep.
You're at the X Games, and I'm thinking let's take it back to like the 90s.
Yeah, like the peak.
The peak Tony Hawk time. You're not actually a skateboarder. You're like one of the helpers on the skateboarding side of things.
Okay.
And you find out this morning that Tony Hawk has come down with an illness.
Okay.
And you suspect that someone has actually like poisoned his meal. So it's now somewhat an investigatory game. You're not killing anyone, but you're like trying to figure out who's trying to take out the competition.
Okay. Have they given him like is it something that like gives him vertigo?
Gives him what?
Vertigo. Like makes him not be able to stand like be up high. I'm just trying to think of it.
Vertigo or the runs.
I'm just trying to think of something that's like somewhat ironic for his tricks. Okay, so are you yourself then a wannabe skater or something? Do you think, or is this just a summer job and you don't give a fuck about the X Games? Are you like a bit of a like you're coming in kind of not giving a crap about this thing that everyone else cares about? You're just like a total
I think
goth kid.
What you're actually playing is like an announcer with attitude, but in order to ensure that you can be at your announcer best, you need to have the best people there.
Well, because I was just wondering though if the goal could be that to become the announcer with attitude, like from the beginning, like maybe you've been hired on, you're like a high school kid and you don't really care about skateboarding, but you need money. But then across the course of the game, you like find the love for what's happening here and for the love of skateboarding, and you like learn skateboarding, but also, or maybe not learn skateboarding, but by the end of it, you have the attitude that you need to be like this kick-ass X Games announcer.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I'm thinking is sort of in Monkey Island Insult sword fighting like sections where you are doing the announcing.
Okay. Is this where you also out the person who you believe is responsible?
Yeah, that could be like your big climax. When not only are you now this kick-ass announcer because you've got all the right like words and things up your sleeve because you've been training in secret after your first failed embarrassment of an announcement. But yeah, you know the identity and you like out them in front of everybody.
And then in a weird final twist, the final part of the game is just an arcade sequence where you're like where you're doing like skateboarding.
Well, it's just I kind of like the idea that your announcing itself is somewhat affecting, or at the very least, the morale of the skateboarders, and then that affects their actual performance. And so, not only is your first Because I'm thinking early on, it's like, oh, like our regular announcer is dead. Whatever. You know, you need to step
vertigo
up.
in the runs as well.
Yeah, somehow they have vertigo and the runs at the same time. You need to step up and announce this skateboarding event. But, you know, in true insult sword fighting kind of style, you just don't have the dialogue options to do it well. And so you're destined to fail. And it's things like
every second word is, what an awesome 360. That's awesome. That's just brilliant.
Yeah. Awesome. What an awesome skateboard. Yeah, but then obviously later on, and I don't know, I don't think you actually like have to identify tricks specifically, although maybe you get more points if you like, or maybe you do better if you like identify the trick or something. I don't know, but you were at least more accurately saying things that are going on and like using the right sort of terminology and attitude and stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
30 to 1 click.
Yeah. Mud.
Sabotage.
Okay. Mudatage. Are we sabotaging something with mud? Is this like a place that just has a lot of mud where some sabotage has happened? Are we somehow sabotaging the mud itself?
Is this a health spa? You know, where people sometimes have mud baths.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Like it.
So I'm just wondering whether I know that I go down this route a lot, but you're a maintenance person. Okay. Having to go around and like fix all the issues that are happening here.
Yes, and something less boring. No, I just mean, I'm just trying to think of where does the gameplay come from then, rather than just sort of having these jobs to do.
Well, okay, so what I'm thinking is at the start, like there's a couple of small little things that are happening. You have to go and fix like some of the sporting equipment or you know, exercise equipment. And then you got to go like refill the mud bath. And then on the second day, someone gets crushed by like a weight machine that is malfunctioned and collapsed in on itself. So now,
all right, can I take this in a slightly different direction? I like the idea of being a health spa. Instead of it being some sort of like, you know, open-ish, you know, third person, whatever world, let's bring it back. Let's make it more simple. I'm picturing a single screen sort of maybe side on view of this health spa. And it's more of a spinning plates kind of situation where it's like, oh, we're out of mud. Okay, I need to mix up some new mud. And you've got like different recipes or like different combinations of things you can use. And maybe the mud is a resource that you have to get from. Maybe you like maybe when these people come into your health spa and like get their fucking, I don't know, blackheads removed or whatever, that actually becomes the mud that's there. Like I'm picturing this totally like it could be this kind of gross out thing of how you kind of manage. And I'm not talking about I'm not saying you build it. Like this isn't a management sim in that sense. It's more of just, here is this fixed health spa thing. And it's really about just like, all right, I'm going to like upgrade this because it's going to give me more of this resource because I need to manage the mud spa.
Next, you're going to say the waste from the liposuction gets turned into soap.
Absolutely. Throw in that Fight Club reference for sure. Yeah, no, I look, and I'm okay. To be open, I'm basing this somewhat off the game that I've been playing a little bit recently called Despotism 3000, which is where you play this like alien who's got humans captured in this base, and you have to breed them and just put them to work in your different machines to like generate electricity. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's more of you've just got these kind of different stations and you have to manage their sort of incoming and outgoing resources in different ways as people come in and out of your health spa.
Okay, and where does sabotage come in?
Well, then I think you've got like random events and stuff. I think you can have something happen where like, oh shit, our liposuction machine's been sabotaged and so it's offline for a while, right? And so we're going to run out of soap. Our soap reserves, and so maybe we need to like fucking, I don't know, kill one of the people who come in so we can get a big like... Just take all their fat at once and render it down into soap.
So in other words, that's where you like take some bolts out of the weight the weightlifting machines so that they get crushed on the inside of this thing. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think
oh my God.
I think basically you've got sort of a bunch of knobs and dials on all these different stations that you can tweak in different ways to alter, for one, how well they're working for the people coming in, and two, how well they're providing you with resources. And I love this idea of it kind of being this super gross out thing where, like, yeah, in the weight area, you're collecting their sweat, and then that becomes the fucking, like, mineral baths that they have, right?
Oh, no.
And maybe it's also generating power for you or something, right? Like they're on the
I'm going to have to
treadmills.
put a warning at the start of this episode saying, please do not eat food while you are listening to the
definitely
game
content,
at around
content
35
warning,
minutes.
bodily fluids, for sure. But
Ugh.
I don't know. I feel and I'm sort of picturing this very like this retro pixel kind of style with all these people coming in and yeah.
Oh, see, I thought you'd want fully 3D rendered with ray tracing and all this sort of stuff so that you could see
Liquid physics. Maybe.
You could see, the sweat glistening off the bodies of these
that
muscular men.
That could work too. Sure. Sure. Photo mode.
3 to 1 click. Get away from this. Horse.
Menace. Is this like a Wild West kind of situation? Or maybe not Wild West. Maybe this is like Outback Australia kind of like Man from Snowy River style thing.
Okay. Yeah, I like period setting.
I don't actually know enough about history to...
I'm picturing the start of the game and it starts up and it comes up with this beautiful sort of view of like the Snowy River and like a horse running down. And then all of a sudden Daryl Braithwaite's Horses starts up and you go, oh shit.
On that horse,
and that's when the horse like takes out a shotgun and becomes a menace.
Okay.
I'm sort of picturing Hotline Miami, but with a horse.
I mean, we could, if you want to go silly with it, we could definitely take it down. I mean, I don't know enough about 1800s fucking Australia really to go deep on a, Stockman character, whatever. But we could definitely make it a horse who's got a shotgun.
Okay, so at the start, it's this horse that falls down and breaks its leg. And the Jolly Swagman gets out his shotgun and is about to destroy the horse when the horse sort of like does a leg sweep, knocks the shotgun out of the Jolly Swagman's hand and shoots him dead. Then stays still, finally figures out how to repair his leg. And now he's just on a revenge spree, against all these people who were basically trying to destroy horses anytime they break a leg.
Yeah, okay. So I love the idea of an Australian-based ridiculous game where you're playing this. So I'm picturing it. It does start off as this serene setting of, Australia, the gum trees. You've got like the harmonica with fucking Waltzing Matilda going in the background as it starts. Mm-hmm. And then this fucking happens and it cuts into like a heavy metal version of Waltzing Matilda. You'll come waltzing Matilda with me. And then, there's just this fucking horse shooting down bloody bushrangers and swagmen and stockmen and whatever, like freeing the Brumbies from the stations. Yeah.
I'm loving it. Loving it. I want super, super gory.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You definitely come up. Ned Kelly is the boss. The man from Snowy River himself is a boss. Yeah. I'm almost picturing, like
Snowy River itself is also a boss.
Snowy River itself, like, rips itself up off the ground, its watery arms and face.
I don't know if there's a dam there, but I'm just picturing
of the Jolly Swagman comes out of the billabong. I'm almost picturing more of a nuclear throne or something, right? Or a top-down shooter sort of thing. I mean, kind of, that's Hotline Miami-esque, except Hotline Miami had a very different sort of...
that was very much in buildings. I'm thinking this is, sort of...
I think this is just
through.
I think this is like a Crimson Land or a Nuclear Throne style shooter. And there's like hordes of sheep and, I don't know,
I'm actually picturing, the horse is actually walking on its hind legs, and it actually has like has the shotgun.
Oh yeah, it's like
in the front two legs.
Anthropomorphic somewhat, but like, well, not anthropomorphic in that it's still shaped very much like a horse. It's a very awkward animation. Balancing this shotgun.
What I'm picturing is, for the most part, like it's just holding it in its mouth, but when you need to shoot, it sort of rears up on its hind legs, and the tail sort of comes out and pulls the trigger. Maybe.
I'm sure we could find an animator who would have some fun with it.
Yeah.
All right. So John Click, I think.
Yeah.
Taking that one as far as I can get.
That was insane.
Mole
date.
Okay, sorry, my mind just went in a few different directions. You could be on a date with someone who has a really big mole, although I don't want to do any sort of body shaming, so
no,
maybe we'll stay away from that. My initial thought actually was that you're some sort of mole in the organization, of like some sort of organization.
Yep.
But it's like the game itself is on it. You're on a date with someone, maybe your boss or something.
Okay. So you're a mole in the organization of Tinder.
Okay.
You're working for a small startup, and you're trying to work out how they actually came up with their
algorithm. They're like a
matching algorithm, because your algorithm just doesn't seem to be matching people up anywhere near as good as what Tinder does. And well, whether it's actually Tinder or whether it's
I like the idea that your algorithm keeps matching people that they fall in love with, but people just want to get laid.
Yeah.
They're complaining. It's like, I met the love of my life on this. I wanted to sleep with, 30 guys before I settled down, but now I can't. 1 star.
I met the love of my life, but I'm already married.
Yes. It's like a fucking Rick and Morty episode that matches them with their soulmates.
Jesus Christ, that was funny.
No, but I think, and I think that can just be a little throwaway thing. But I think, you work for a company, it's a dating startup, and your algorithm is too good at finding people that they'll fall in love with, and not good enough at finding people they'll have casual sex with. And so you're not making any money.
Because people only use it the once.
Exactly. Exactly. They're not going to pay for your premium matches and stuff when the first one ends up being their fucking soulmate.
I think we've actually just honed into what makes Tinder so successful is the fact that
it doesn't work.
It doesn't actually work. Like, they've got it to the point where they've removed all the true love equations out of it and got it into just the casual sex area. Wow, I think we've got to actually be watching our backs, because I think we've just unearthed something.
Oh, I think Tinder is going to be sending its fucking goons against us. And I'm telling you what, they're going to swipe left. I don't know which one's the good way.
I don't know which is a good way either. We met our partners in time before
Tinder. Although only just for me.
Mine was like 20 years before.
Yeah. So are you on? All right. So what's your app called? Let's come up with that first.
Grindr. I mean,
is it called? All right. Let's think. What's something that mates for life? Like doves or something? Isn't there some like animals that mate for life? Swans?
No, penguins mate for life or something like that.
Because I feel like you could do something around that. Gibbons, but that's not very good. Swans do. Maybe it's like swan love or something, like swanner. Albatross? Albatross is wrong. Okay, because albatross is also a term. Isn't that a term for like finding something rare?
Yeah, it is. I think it is.
All right, let's just go with that. Your app's called Albatross. Whatever, that's fine. Because my point was, you're on a date with.
Hang on, shouldn't we be looking for animals that don't mate for life and like find a new mate every 2 seconds, because that's what you're trying to do.
But that's what you're gonna have to rename it to once you actually like steal the Tinder algorithm. This is the original, because I think you went into this as a like wide-eyed people want to find love like thing. You did too well. You've matched all these people up. They never come back and give you money for your app. Like, I feel like you give like one free match when you download the app and nobody ever needs any more. So you've basically made no money.
And you don't want to make it ad supported, otherwise no one will actually download it. So it's a catch-22
Yeah,
that
exactly.
no one actually pays for the premium services because they don't need it after their first dinner.
Yeah. So, but my point was, you're on a date with like the head, like the CEO of Tinder, or maybe this is a series. Maybe you have to date your way through management at Tinder. But I guess my point was, are you going on albatross dates or Tinder dates? Because do you fall in love with these people?
Well, you're trying to analyze the Tinder algorithm at first by using their app to get matched with all these people.
Oh, so do you go on dates and like every date you go on gives you, a percentage of insight into the algorithm, and you have to do it with, it's like you're doing it without, you have to get through it without being found out somehow.
Yeah. I think what starts happening is you can sort of compare the Tinder match against what the albatross match is. And the albatross match, sort of shows up as a 1% compatibility compared to the 99% compatibility of this other person that, you sort of realize that it's almost the exact opposite of what albatross is.
Oh, okay.
So
maybe you've got like the different factors that it's matched on, different compatibilities in different personality areas. And
yeah,
I mean, with that, we can basically, the actual insight that you get can be pretty much technobabble. I think the point is that you are going on a series of dates to compare the algorithms, and reverse engineer their algorithm for your own app. So then, what's the gameplay, and is it sort of just a narrative thing as you go on these, like, I don't know, 6 dates or something? You find something out about yourself, or
yeah, but every single date that you sort of go on, like the first one sort of is okay and sort of ends in like a very basic hot coffee situation.
Okay, yeah,
but the next ones, it kind of goes a bit weird. Kind of like, have you ever seen the movie Juice Bigelow, Male Gigolo?
I was not expecting you to go there. Okay, yes. I'm kind of scared.
Everything was kind of twisted on its side, that it was kind of a bit awkward in the way that things were actually happening. But he ended up
liking all
the
these
dates.
people, right? Like they basically he became friends with them all.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea that, you're getting these weird sort of matches that
just these out there
really
people who are not
extremely out there, and it seems to be weird that you're getting matched up with all these people, and it turns out that like the people from Tinder who are just evil incarnate have been modifying the matches because they've
known what you're up to the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You and these other matches, you start going after the Tinder people.
And do you get back at them by showing them who their albatross match is? And they're like, no, I fell in love. Like that's the worst thing for them that you could do for them. Because then now they can't just go and have casual sex with anyone else because they'd feel like they were cheating on their soulmate.
No, I think what actually happens at the end is you kind of turn the albatross figures upside down, but you make your way into Tinder and you actually make their algorithm better for finding love.
Oh, you just tank their company.
You tank their company that way.
Although I do love a moment where like you're coming up against the CEO of Tinder after all this stuff's happened and they're like cackling away because they've taken down your plan and you're just like, oh yeah, well look, let's see your albatross match, and turn around and it's just like no match, and their face just crumbles. There's no one out there for them.
It turns out that like that's the reason why they started Tinder, because they thought they could actually do this. They got 0 matches from themselves, and they keep on checking it every day. And so that's their truth, that they could only ever get 50% matches, so therefore everyone else was only ever going to get 50% matches.
That's cool. I'm still unsure of what the actual gameplay is of this, but I love the story that we're building. Let's stick with it. By which I mean, let's click again.
I reckon this should be our last one.
I think so, yeah.
Tending.
Blasting. So, I mean, tending makes me think of either gardening, because I feel like you tend to garden, or bartending.
Yep.
Bartending could be cool with blasting. Maybe it's like a shooter where you have to like shoot drinks to people. Got like a t-shirt cannon.
Yeah, but it's sort of reminding me of Double Shot.
Yeah, that's true. Or just like Tapper, but it's a shooter instead of
Okay, so what if it was a VR game in which you're tending to a window box? So it's sort of like a stationary sort of thing.
Yep. We tend to like those. Tend to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that you've got to, aerate the soil a little bit. You can plant your things in the window box, but at the same time, you've got like insects and stuff that are coming to attack your plants. So you got to be shooting them off with like individual.
Ooh, I kind of like the idea that this is almost a bit of a tower defense game where not in the traditional sense as such, but the types of plants that you plant in different positions will have different effects on like, you can plant Venus flytraps around the edges or something, and that's going to like capture the flies coming from that direction. Or, there's different sorts of, you can plant ones that a particular type of insect likes over here. And then that means they're all going to go in that direction, and then you can swat them more easily or something. Like, I think it's not just the plants doing all of it, but you can strategically plant different flowers and things to alter these insects' behavior.
I kind of also like the idea of this is on an alien world, and the insects that are coming are fucking huge, and therefore the Mortine guns that you've got are actual guns that you're just shooting these fucking things out of the sky.
Okay, that was different to where I was going, but that's fine.
Believe me, with the way that you were going, I was about to go, and what? Zombies come up next? Because it just felt like Plants vs. Zombies was a tower defense game.
All right, hear me out, because the other place I was going on, there's another aspect to this game, is that while this tower defense stuff is happening, you're looking out this window, there's like background narrative stuff going on out the window. And it's almost Easter eggy. But I'm feeling this is a bit more of like a calm kind of, serene sort of game. And, it's still challenging because, it is about tending these flowers in a way that the insects can't get to them. But it's also about just like seeing the stuff that's happening outside your window and watching your flowers grow.
And protecting your flowers from the paper boy that is riding down the street.
Yeah, sure. Look, I think there can be little events,
smashing windows,
little events and stuff where you have to like bat the paper out of the way.
What else can happen down the street that we haven't?
Well, I think again, it's just sort of that you get the same sort of people. Like, there's a couple that goes by, and because I'm sort of picturing each day is like a round, and you have to, like, the plants survive day to day, right? Like, you do have to tend to them. I feel like you've got maybe like a tending period, and then the attack round. So you have to make sure that your plants are planted right and they've got enough water, and you can move them, but that's going to like take them down a bit, or it's going to like they have to start from scratch, and they only get to full bloom after X number of days, depending on the breed of plant and stuff.
So I'm thinking for the first 2 minutes after putting this special plant strengthening potion, basically it attracts all the insects in the neighborhood, basically.
Okay.
So it's this scientific invention that the reason why at the end of your tending session that this happens is you have to use this growth formula because reasons.
Are you saying so you can see the results of your tending right away?
Or I'm thinking that the reason why there's an attack after every tending session is this one growth formula that
it just like attracts them.
Attracts everything.
Yeah, look,
And it's basically
we can come up with if we need a in-world hook for why they come, that's fine. I mean, you could just take it from a game point of view of like, and now it's the round when the insects attack, or like the time of day or something.
Oh yeah, you hear like sun's going down, the locust sound is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just fucking locusts just coming in.
Yeah, and so then I think you've got a session of, because I'm picturing the sort of attack round as the plants that you've got there, like they're maybe taking damage, and so you've got some tools around where you can like heal them up a bit by, you know, reaching to your left and grabbing the little watering can to pour on them or something. Or you can grab the fly swat or the like mortine gun or whatever to like help these things take them out. But then the whole time the plants themselves are defending themselves in some way. Against these
I think when it becomes the craziest is the 5th day, where the fire-breathing insects start coming out, and that's when you start realizing that shit's about to go down.
Yeah, sure.
So
and look, it
all
could
those
be
flame retardant plants that you thought that you shouldn't need at the start. Yeah, you really should have been planting them the whole time.
Well, that's it. I like the idea that they're not realistic plant breeds as such. They're probably based on actual plants. But obviously they have all these like attack abilities, and you could bring in your whole, if you want to use your serum or whatever, like that's why they're, but I like the idea that again, you can maybe like unlock different plant breeds as you go, or, you know, some are more expensive than others, or some are just, you know, take more, like need more specific, because I like the idea that you can't necessarily plant some breeds next to other ones or something, right? Because they need different soil acidity or water levels, or so you've got some strategy. You've got some strategy around where you can plant what.
I kind of like the idea of having within the game like special achievements. Like if you give all the growth serum that you've got only to a Venus flytrap, you can unlock the Audrey 2 achievement in that you've made like this huge sentient Venus
flytrap style. Yeah, sure. Yeah. You could definitely have a lot of good puns in there. You can somehow grow Groot.
I love that.
I'm trying to think of other plant pop culture things.
Swamp Thing.
Sure, yeah, like reeds.
It's fucking vines.
It's just if you put water, if you turn your whole thing into a swamp, it's just vines grow up. Yeah, totally. The happening. You can just grow the right combination so everybody starts killing themselves.
And the first victim is the paper boy.
Yeah. You just see him like shove a fucking paper down his throat and choke himself to death.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then M. Night Shyamalan comes in and goes, "What a twist."
What a twist.
What a twist. All right. I think we'll end it there.
That'll do for tonight.
Oh my goodness. So if you want to find us online, we're at podchaser.com/bitstorm, all one word. Go check that out. Go look at our backlog of 160 odd episodes. It's actually exactly 160. They're just kind of odd. But there's a lot to look at there.
There's a couple of half episodes.
There are some bonusy sort of things. Some global game jam episodes. Some global game jam episodes, one of which will be coming up in just a month or so, as we have that again at the end of January. That will be fun. You should also check out 8bit.net. We are part of the 8bit Collective. And this is a group of podcasters who we're just buds. We just get along. It's just good folks. So go check them out, 8bit.net.
We'd like it if you could go and like all our friends at the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. They are a group of like-minded individuals who all just want to help each other. A good, fun community. They helped us a couple of weeks ago with our Game of the Year episode. Mm-hmm. Check that out if you haven't already. That was a good fun one. And finally, we'd like to thank Kuridas for the use of the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
You'll come waltzing Matilda with me.
What a twist.
What a twist.